Libya is increasing fuel imports to make up for local shortages caused by strikes and shutdowns at its oil fields and its ports. Now, motorists in the capital, Tripoli, for example, have been queuing for more than a week to refill their cars. And soldiers have had to move in to protect some petrol stations during protests by people demanding fresh supplies. A movement pushing for greater autonomy in eastern Libya said early in the week it would not end the blockade of several oil exporting ports, dashing hopes for resolution to a 3-month standoff for the government in Tripoli. Prime Minister Ali Zaidan has said that he expected the blockade would end after almost 2 weeks of talks. Deputy Oil Minister Omar Shaknak, however, maintains that the situation is improving as more imports come in to bolster local supply.
What has been allocated to the Western region depots, which includes Tripoli and the areas neighboring the capital, received 317 million litres during November. Comparing the first 2 weeks with the first 15 days of December, it's level with Libya receiving 215 litres of benzene and 182 million litres in the Western region. These numbers, compared to the last few months, are considered to be on a similar level.
Fuel is available 100%, and this is a reality. But 2 days ago, 4 petrol carrier vehicles were unable to unload. People still have the mentality of the previous period of 2011 when they were struggling for petrol. Now they're struggling and petrol is available.
Now, news of Google's investment in high-speed internet infrastructure in Uganda's capital of Kampala has been received with excitement over there. Recently, the world's biggest search engine announced a $14 million investment in a metropolitan fiber optic network, which essentially aims to open up the internet market and boost access levels in Uganda. Here's CCTV's Ramah Nyang with more.
Marvin Bisanga runs a digital media company. His business is heavily internet-based. While business has been good, the poor internet speeds are a major obstacle.
The speeds are not as reliable as we would have loved them to be.
As a result, he has sometimes missed deadlines, meaning that the unreliable internet connection has cost his company business and hit him directly where it hurts, his pocket.
There are times, of course, when you need the internet to, for example, if you want to point out that YouTube video to explain something in video and not necessarily talk through it to a client. It's a challenge because the time is involved, it's very slow.
But there's now hope the situation can improve. Google is investing up to $14 million in what they call the super-fast high-capacity fiber network to improve connectivity. The American multinational hopes to run a 700-kilometer Metronet fiber through Uganda's capital, Kampala.
It's a big boost to the sector, generally. Many places you get to, and in this case, they've chosen to invest in fiber because it's quite reliable. So them choosing Uganda and particularly investing in the fiber technology says a lot. They've taken their time to study and analyze the market, and they realized that despite us having a bit of fiber, we're still lacking.
Google says the initiative, codenamed Project Link, will enable local internet service providers to offer new data plans and high speeds to Uganda. And the company says it also hopes to support entrepreneurship and innovation. According to government's 2013 statistics, internet penetration is at 10.2% and still growing. Uganda's Communication Commission says that figure represents fixed and mobile broadband, which is getting more accessible to users. Local providers believe low penetration rate presents huge opportunities for the sector to grow. Now, with an anticipated boost from Google, Uganda's internet users hope that soon they will be using faster and more reliable connections. Leon Senyange, CCTV, Kampala.
Now, before we jump into the soccer fairy tale from the FIFA World Cup, quick run through the markets here for you. Decent numbers coming out, at least at the start of trading across the board. In the western coastline in Nigeria, the all-share index was up by roughly about 2/3. The JSE in South Africa also in the green, up of course by about 1 percentage point. The 20-share index in the Kenyan capital Nairobi, however, in the red, down by about 4/10. The EGX 30 also, of course, in the green, up by about 2/3. Do keep in mind, however, these numbers, of course, are pre-taper. The announcement, of course, from the Fed came out later in the evening yesterday, at least from an African time perspective. We'll see how that information filters through into the market and give you the latest details at 1700 GMT.